Admiral Nadia Patel stood at the viewport of Lunar Command Station, her dark eyes fixed on Earth's faithful satellite below. 25 years of service in the United Earth Space Force hadn't prepared her for what she was about to witness. The long-range sensors had detected the Kraxan warships hours ago, but their intent remained unclear until now. "They're charging their primary weapon," Lieutenant Reza Hassan reported, his voice steady despite the tension filling the command center. "Energy signatures unlike anything we've seen before." Nadia's fingers tightened around the railing. The Kraxan Empire had appeared at the edge of the solar system 3 days ago, ignoring all attempts at communication. Their ships, massive, crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with internal light, had taken up position around the moon without firing a shot. Until now. "All lunar facilities, initiate emergency protocol Delta 7, she ordered, watching as the first brilliant beam of energy lanced out from the largest Kraxan vessel. "Get everyone to the deep shelters." The beam struck the moon's surface, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then the horror began. Cracks of brilliant energy spread across the lunar surface like lightning through water. Nadia watched, helpless, as humanity's constant companion for millions of years began to break apart. "Ma'am," Hassan's voice cracked. "The moon's structural integrity it's failing at the atomic level. They're not just destroying it, they're unmaking it." In the next 20 minutes, Nadia Patel witnessed what would become known as the lunar catastrophe. The moon, mankind's eternal night light and inspiration for countless dreams of space travel, shattered into millions of pieces. The larger fragments remained in orbit, creating a glittering ring around Earth that might have been beautiful under different circumstances. "Get me Earth Command," Nadia ordered, her voice carrying the weight of history. "And start calculating the trajectories of every single piece of our moon. The Kraxan Empire just made the biggest mistake in their species' history." The response from Earth was immediate and unprecedented. Within hours, every nation had united under a single banner. Dr. Marcus Blackwood, Earth's leading expert in experimental propulsion, was already proposing ways to weaponize the lunar debris. The mining operations that had been scattered across the moon's surface had left behind equipment that could be repurposed. "The Kraxans think they've demoralized us," Nadia addressed the Emergency Council of Earth's military leaders. "They think destroying our moon will break our spirit. Instead, they've given us ammunition." Professor Yuki Tanaka, head of the Lunar Research Division, interrupted the meeting with startling news. "The moon fragments, they're not just debris. The Kraxan weapon changed their fundamental structure. These pieces are more than rock now. They're energy matrices waiting to be activated." Nadia watched as understanding dawned on the faces around her. The Kraxans hadn't just destroyed the moon, they'd transformed it into something new. Something that humanity could use. "Launch Project Moonfall," she ordered. "Every research facility, every engineering lab, every space station, I want them working on ways to use these fragments. The Kraxans want to show us their technological superiority. Let's show them what happens when you give humans the pieces of their own moon as a weapon." Within the first 24 hours, humanity had already adapted the lunar mining mass drivers to launch moon fragments with devastating accuracy. But that was just the beginning. Dr. Blackwood's team discovered that the energy matrices within the fragments could be programmed, turned into guided projectiles that sought out Kraxan ships with uncanny precision. "They're retreating," Hassan reported, a note of fierce pride in his voice. The first wave of weaponized fragments hit their rear guard. 3 ships destroyed, 2 heavily damaged. Nadia allowed herself a grim smile. "Send the message to all Earth forces, Operation Lunar Vengeance is now active. And send one to the Kraxan fleet too. Tell them, you should have left our moon alone." As the fragments of humanity's moon began their first assault on the Kraxan fleet, Nadia Patel made a silent promise to the scattered remains of Earth's faithful satellite. This was just the beginning. The Kraxan Empire would learn that humans don't take kindly to the destruction of their celestial companions. And they would learn it the hard way, piece by weaponized piece of their own moon. Dr. Marcus Blackwood hadn't slept in 3 days, but the mixture of caffeine and righteous fury kept him going. His laboratory in the Geneva Underground Research Facility had become the epicenter of Project Moonfall, where the brightest minds on Earth worked to transform tragedy into triumph. The energy matrices are responding to electromagnetic manipulation, his colleague Dr. Priya Kapoor announced, her hands dancing across holographic displays. Each fragment retains a memory of its original lunar structure, but the cracks in weapon changed them at the quantum level. Marcus studied the fragments suspended in the containment field before them. It pulsed with an inner light that shouldn't have been possible for what was once ordinary moon rock. They meant to destroy our moon, he mused, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. Instead, they've given us the keys to their own destruction. The laboratory doors slid open as Admiral Patel entered, accompanied by Professor Tanaka. The Admiral's presence commanded immediate attention, even among the civilian scientists. Dr. Blackwood, she nodded. Show me what you've discovered. Marcus gestured to the suspended fragment. The Craxons didn't just break apart the moon, they transformed it. Each piece is now a programmable matrix of energy and matter. We've already succeeded in installing basic guidance systems, but that's just the beginning. He pulled up a detailed simulation. Watch this. Priya, initiate test sequence gamma. The fragment in the containment field began to pulse more rapidly. Suddenly, it split into multiple smaller pieces, each glowing with the same inner light. Self-replication. Admiral Patel's eyes widened slightly. Using what material source? That's the beautiful part, Priya stepped forward. The fragments can convert any matter they come in contact with into more lunar material. The Craxons gave them this ability when they unmade the moon at the atomic level. We're just redirecting it. Professor Tanaka's usually stoic expression showed a hint of excitement. You're telling me we can turn their own ships into more ammunition? Exactly, Marcus confirmed. But we've also discovered something else. The fragments resonate at specific frequencies. With the right programming, we can make them sing. Admiral Patel raised an eyebrow. Sing. Marcus tapped a few commands into his console. The fragments began emitting a haunting melody, a cosmic symphony born from the death of Earth's moon. Psychological warfare, the Admiral nodded approvingly. The Craxons will hear the voice of the moon they destroyed as it tears their fleet apart. The next few hours were a blur of activity as Marcus's team prepared for full-scale implementation. Engineers from every space agency on Earth worked alongside quantum physicists and computer specialists, all united in their determination to make the Craxons regret their actions. First batch of enhanced fragments is ready for deployment, Priya reported. We've equipped them with the replication protocols and sonic resonance systems. The mass drivers on the remaining lunar stations have been modified to accommodate the new projectiles. Marcus watched as the first enhanced fragments were loaded into the launch systems. Each piece of their destroyed moon now carried humanity's defiance, their determination not to be broken by this unprovoked attack. Admiral, he turned to Patel. There's something else you should know. The fragments, they're evolving. The energy matrices are becoming more complex with each replication cycle. They're learning. The Admiral's expression remained carefully neutral. Learning what, exactly? How to be better weapons, Priya answered. Each generation of fragments becomes more efficient at targeting Craxon ships, more precise in their replication process. It's as if the moon itself wants vengeance. A sudden alert drew their attention. The long-range sensors had detected movement from the Craxon fleet. They were preparing another attack. Perfect timing, Admiral Patel smiled grimly. Dr. Blackwood, your enhanced fragments are about to get their first field test. Professor Tanaka, coordinate with the lunar stations. Dr. Kapoor, monitor the replication process. Let's show the Craxons what happens when you give humanity the tools of their own undoing. As the enhanced fragments launched from Earth's orbital platforms, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of poetic justice. The Craxans had sought to break humanity's spirit by destroying their moon. Instead, they had given birth to something new, a weapon born from humanity's loss, powered by their determination, and guided by their ingenuity. The first enhanced fragment struck a Craxan vessel, and the transformation began. The ship's crystalline structure started to change, converting into more lunar material, each piece resonating with the haunting melody of humanity's revenge. "It's working," Priya whispered, watching the data stream in. "The replication process is stable, and the sonic resonance is operating at optimal frequency." Marcus nodded, his exhaustion forgotten in the face of their success. "Send the data to Captain Takeda's fleet. Tell them the enhanced fragments are ready for full deployment." As Project Moonfall entered its next phase, Marcus Blackwood allowed himself a moment of reflection. The moon had been humanity's companion for millions of years, inspiring dreams, guiding their nights, and drawing them toward the stars. Now, in its destruction, it had become something more, a testament to humanity's resilience and a weapon born from their determination to survive. Captain Jun Takeda stood on the bridge of the UES Nightshade, watching the tactical display where hundreds of enhanced moon fragments orbited his fleet like a swarm of deadly fireflies. Each piece glowed with that distinctive inner light, waiting to be unleashed. "Status report on the Craxan fleet," he ordered, his voice carrying the calm precision that had made him Earth's most successful void warfare tactician. Lieutenant Olivia Rivera responded from her tactical station. "They've divided into 3 battle groups, Captain. Their energy signatures suggest they're trying to develop countermeasures against our lunar weapons." June allowed himself a slight smile. "Too late for that. They should have thought about countermeasures before destroying our moon." He turned to his weapons officer, Commander Walsh. "Are the new targeting algorithms from Dr. Blackwood's team integrated?" "Yes, sir," Walsh confirmed, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "The fragments are now capable of predictive targeting. They can anticipate Craxan evasive maneuvers based on their previous patterns." The bridge of the Nightshade hummed with tension as June studied the tactical layout. The Craxan ships, with their crystalline structures and energy weapons, should have been technologically superior to Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet. But they hadn't counted on humanity's ability to adapt, to turn their own weapon against them. "Message from Admiral Patel," Rivera announced. "Project Moonfall Phase 3 is authorized. We have green light for Operation Stardust." June nodded, his dark eyes reflecting the glow of the tactical displays. "Send word to all ships in the battle group. Execute Maneuver Takeda 7. Let's show them how humans hunt." The UES Nightshade and its escort vessels began a complex series of movements, seemingly random but carefully choreographed. Between them, clouds of enhanced moon fragments moved like schools of predatory fish, their inner light pulsing in harmony. "Sir," Walsh reported, "the Craxan fleet is responding exactly as predicted. Their central battle group is moving to intercept." "Perfect," June smiled. "They still think in linear terms. Commander Walsh, initiate sonic resonance pattern alpha. Lieutenant Rivera, prepare for synchronized fragment deployment on my mark." The enhanced fragments began to emit their haunting melody, a symphony of destruction that carried through the void. The Craxan ship's crystalline structures vibrated in response, creating interference patterns in their energy shields. "Now," June ordered. "Release the first wave." Streams of glowing moon fragments accelerated toward the Craxan fleet, but instead of moving in straight lines, they curved and spiraled in complex patterns. The Craxan ships attempted to evade, but the fragments adjusted their trajectories in real time, guided by the combined genius of Earth's best scientists and tacticians. "First impacts confirmed," Rivera reported, excitement creeping into her professional tone. "Replication process initiating on 3 Craxan vessels. Their crystalline structure is being converted into new lunar material. June watched as the struck cracks in ships began to transform, their elegant crystal formations turning into glowing lunar matter. But this was just the beginning of his strategy. "Second wave, deploy in pattern hemisphere," he commanded. "Let's box them in." The newly replicated fragments joined the attack, creating an exponentially growing swarm that herded the Kraxan fleet into a carefully planned kill zone. The haunting melody grew stronger with each conversion, a crescendo of humanity's revenge. "Sir," Walsh interrupted, "we're detecting energy buildup in the remaining Kraxan ships. They're attempting to use their moon-destroying weapon again." June's expression remained calm. "Just as we expected. Commander Walsh, execute protocol reflection." The swarm of fragments rearranged itself, forming complex geometric patterns that Dr. Blackwood's team had designed. When the Kraxan weapon fired, its energy beams struck the formation and scattered, reflected back by the very same quantum properties they had inadvertently created in the moon's remains. "Multiple direct hits," Rivera reported with satisfaction. 5 more Kraxan ships are beginning conversion. Their fleet formation is breaking down." June keyed his comm to fleet-wide broadcast. "All ships, execute final phase of Operation Stardust. Show them no quarter." The UES Nightshade and its battle group surged forward, surrounded by their deadly swarm of lunar fragments. The Kraxan fleet, caught between the converted remains of their own ships and the human assault, began to retreat in disarray. "Message from the Kraxan command ship," Rivera announced. They're requesting terms of surrender." "Denied," June's voice was cold. "They had their chance for diplomacy before they destroyed our moon. Now they face the consequences. Send them this message instead: the moon remembers, and so do we." As the battle continued, June reflected on the irony of the situation. The Kraxans had sought to demonstrate their superiority by destroying Earth's moon, but in doing so, they had given humanity the perfect weapon against them. Every ship they lost became more ammunition, every defeat made Earth's arsenal stronger. "Sir," Walsh reported, "Dr. Blackwood's team is sending new data. The fragments' learning algorithms have evolved again. They're developing even more efficient conversion patterns." June nodded, watching as another Kraxan ship succumbed to the relentless swarm. "Send all battle data back to Project Moonfall. Commander Rostova will want this information for her advanced weapons development." The stars seemed to shimmer as waves of sonic resonance rippled through space, carrying the moon's revenge to every corner of the battlefield. The hunter had become the hunted, and the Kraxan Empire was learning a harsh lesson about the consequences of underestimating humanity's resourcefulness. Commander Valentina Rostova's laboratory aboard the orbital station Phoenix had become a symphony of light and sound. Enhanced moon fragments danced in containment fields, their crystalline structures pulsing in complex patterns as she fine-tuned their resonance frequencies. "The quantum harmonics are stabilizing," her chief engineer, Dr. Raj Patel, reported. "The fragments are responding to the new programming protocols better than we anticipated." Valentina nodded, her scarred hands moving across the control interface with practiced precision. The accident that had cost her 3 fingers during the initial moon destruction hadn't diminished her ability to work; if anything, it had strengthened her resolve. "Show me the latest test results from the Mark V fragments," she requested, watching as holographic data streams filled the air around her. The fragments weren't just weapons anymore, they had become instruments in humanity's revenge symphony. "Commander," Dr. Patel's voice held a note of excitement, "you need to see this. The fragments aren't just replicating anymore, they're evolving their own attack patterns based on collective combat experience." The main display showed footage from Captain Takeda's recent battle. Moon fragments moved with an almost organic grace, coordinating their attacks in ways that hadn't been programmed. They were learning, adapting, becoming something more than simple weapons. "Admiral Patel is requesting an update on Project Crescendo," her communications officer, Lieutenant Diaz, announced. Valentina smiled, her steel-gray eyes reflecting the glow of the fragments. "Tell her it's ready for field testing." The Craxons won't know what hit them. Project Crescendo was her masterpiece, a synthesis of everything they'd learned about the transformed lunar material. Each fragment now carried within it a piece of the moon's final symphony, a weaponized resonance that could shake Craxon ships apart at the molecular level. Dr. Blackwood's latest data suggests the fragments have developed a form of quantum entanglement, Dr. Patel continued. They're sharing tactical information across vast distances instantaneously. Perfect, Valentina moved to the central containment field where their latest creation hovered. That means Project Crescendo can coordinate across entire star systems. Begin final calibration sequence. The fragment in the containment field began to pulse with a new rhythm, its inner light shifting through colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. Around it, other fragments joined in, creating a harmony of destruction that made the very fabric of reality vibrate in sympathy. Lieutenant Diaz, send word to all Earth forces, Valentina ordered. The Mark V enhanced fragments are ready for deployment. Tell them to expect a show. As the new weapons were prepared for transport to the front lines, Valentina couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The Craxons had sought to destroy Earth's moon, believing it would demoralize humanity. Instead, they had given birth to something unprecedented, a weapon that combined human ingenuity with the very essence of their destroyed satellite. Commander, Dr. Patel called out, we're detecting unusual activity in Containment Field 3. The fragments, they're creating new harmonic patterns on their own. Valentina rushed to the display, her eyes widening as she watched the fragments arrange themselves into complex geometric formations, each one pulsing with a different frequency that somehow combined into a perfect whole. They're not just learning tactics, she breathed. They're composing their own battle symphony. The laboratory erupted into activity as researchers rushed to document this new development. The enhanced fragments had exceeded their original programming, becoming something that straddled the line between weapon and artwork. Message from Captain Takeda's fleet, Lieutenant Diaz reported. They're engaging a major Craxon force in the Epsilon sector. They're requesting immediate deployment of Project Crescendo. Valentina straightened, her decision already made. Launch all Mark V fragments. Let's show the Craxons what happens when you give humans the means to turn music into a weapon of war. The orbital station shuddered slightly as launch tubes opened, releasing swarms of enhanced fragments into space. Each one carried within it a piece of humanity's moon, transformed by alien technology and human determination into something entirely new. All fragments away, Dr. Patel confirmed. Their harmonic resonance is stable and strengthening. The swarm is already coordinating attack patterns. Valentina watched the tactical display as her creations joined the battle. The Craxon ships, their crystalline structures already vulnerable to sonic attacks, stood little chance against this new weapon. Each impact not only converted their ships into more lunar material but filled space with a devastating symphony of destruction. They're trying to retreat, Lieutenant Diaz reported with satisfaction. The Craxon fleet is in full withdrawal. Let them run, Valentina smiled grimly. Let them carry word back to their empire about what happens when you underestimate humanity. The moon's last song will follow them across the stars. As reports of victory poured in, Valentina turned her attention to the next phase of development. The fragments were still evolving, still learning, still becoming something more than anyone had anticipated. In destroying Earth's moon, the Craxons had inadvertently helped create their own nightmare, a weapon that combined the cold efficiency of technology with the emotional power of music. Begin preparations for Project Symphony, she ordered. It's time to take this war to the Craxon homeworld. Fleet Admiral Nadia Patel stood on the bridge of the UES Vindication, Earth's newest flagship, as it led the combined human fleet toward the Craxon home system. Around her vessel, clouds of enhanced moon fragments danced like conscious starlight, their harmonic resonance filling space with an otherworldly symphony. Multiple Craxon defense platforms detected, Lieutenant Hassan reported from his tactical station. They've fortified their entire system with quantum barrier arrays. They've learned, Nadia observed, but not enough. She opened a channel to the fleet. All vessels, initiate Operation Final Movement. Commander Rostova, begin Project Symphony. The enhanced fragments surrounding the human fleet began to pulse with new intensity. Their light shifted through impossible colors as they arranged themselves into complex geometric patterns, implementing Rostova's latest innovations. Message from the Kraxan capital, Hassan announced. Supreme Overlord ZYXVAC is requesting direct communication. Nadia straightened her uniform. Put them through. The holographic display materialized, showing the crystalline form of the Kraxan leader. ZYXVAC's structure pulsed with multiple colors, a sign of agitation in their species. Admiral Patel, the alien leader's translated voice carried a mix of anger and fear. You have pursued us across 17 star systems. You have converted 1/3 of our fleet into your weapons. Surely this vendetta has gone far enough. Vendetta? Nadia's voice was cold. No, Supreme Overlord. This isn't a vendetta. This is a lesson. You came to our system, ignored our attempts at communication, and destroyed our moon, humanity's constant companion for millions of years. Now you learn the price of such arrogance. The tactical display updated, showing Captain Takeda's forces engaging the Kraxan defense platforms. The enhanced fragments moved with predatory grace, their battle symphony building to a crescendo as they breached the quantum barriers. Your weapon, ZYXVAC's form flickered with distress, the one you created from your moon's remains. It's not just destroying our ships anymore. It's changing them. Changing us. Yes, Nadia confirmed. Commander Rostova calls it evolutionary harmonics. The fragments don't just convert matter anymore, they convert meaning. Each piece carries the memory of what you destroyed, and that memory is rewriting your empire's very foundation. Dr. Blackwood's voice came through from his research vessel. Admiral, the fragments are reaching critical resonance. The harmonic convergence is beginning. Across the Kraxan system, the enhanced fragment symphony reached new heights. Their music carried not just destruction but transformation. Kraxan structures began to shift, their crystalline perfection taking on aspects of lunar geography. You see, Supreme Overlord, Nadia continued, when you destroyed our moon, you didn't just give us a weapon. You gave us a way to reshape reality itself. Your people will never forget what you did to Earth's moon, because now, pieces of it will be embedded in every aspect of your civilization. The fragment's light grew blinding as Project Symphony reached its peak. The Kraxan homeworld surface began to change, great crystalline spires transforming into landscapes that echoed the moon's lost Maria and highlands. What are you doing to us? ZYXVAC demanded. We're giving you a gift, Nadia replied. The same gift you gave us when you destroyed our moon, transformation. Your entire civilization will carry echoes of Luna. Every crystal, every building, every ship will resonate with her memory. Your children will look up at the stars and feel the pull of a satellite they never knew, an echo of Earth's lost companion. Captain Takeda's forces had completely breached the system's defenses. Commander Rostova's fragments had converted or transformed most of the Kraxan fleet. The Symphony of Revenge reached its final movement. You can surrender now, Nadia offered, and accept this change. Or we can continue until there isn't a single untouched crystal in your empire. Choose quickly. ZYXVAC's form dimmed in defeat. We surrender. The Kraxan Empire surrenders to Earth. Nadia nodded. Lieutenant Hassan, send the final movement parameters to all fragments. Let's complete this transformation. As Project Symphony reached its conclusion, the Kraxan system would never be the same. Their crystalline world now bore the indelible mark of Earth's lost moon, a permanent reminder of the cost of their arrogance. Message from Earth Command, Hassan reported. The lunar ring is stable, and the new colonies are thriving. They're calling it Luna's legacy. Nadia smiled softly. Humanity had not only survived the loss of their moon, they had turned that loss into victory, transforming their grief into the power to reshape an empire. "Send word to all Earth forces," she ordered. "Operation Final Movement is complete. The moon's last echo will resonate through the stars forever, carried in the very structure of those who sought to destroy it." As the UES Vindication prepared for its return journey, Nadia looked out at the transformed cracks in Homeworld. Its surface now shimmered with familiar patterns, mare and highlands, craters and rays, all rendered in living crystal. Earth had lost its moon, but its memory would endure, written into the fabric of an alien civilization as an eternal reminder that humanity's response to destruction was not defeat, but transformation. The enhanced fragments continued their haunting song, now a permanent part of the cosmos, carrying Luna's legacy across the stars, a symphony of remembrance, of vengeance, and ultimately, of change.